y'all? This is anti. We filming straight from the house. From the crib. Pimp Red TV. I'm gonna be doing it this weekend instead of having fun at 420 because I blacked myself and lost my wallet. So I mean, it is what it is. So I'll be chilling here with Pimp Red TV for the weekend. More than likely, unless I make something happen and I get to enjoy 420 like everybody else. Look, so me and Pimp Red are having a discussion, and ironically, it's the same thing I'm going to school for right now. I'm in a Black History class right now, and they're talking about the N-word and all that, and it kind of came up with him. So it's just a coincidence, but hey, however, it's good. I happen to know a lot about that now that some of it I knew before. Hey, some of it I didn't. I learned at school. Anyway, so what we're discussing now is Mr. Pimp Red himself, and his usage of the word. And, obviously this is a very strong topic. Some people feel this way, but we're going to address some issues that people don't address. Because, however, there's a group of people who get left out when it comes to using this word. And these are the people who aren't black, but they feel like they grow up in the same, social surroundings that we do and around some of the same people. So they use the word frequently. We never talk about the issues they face and the way and what they use, and how they feel about using the word, where they stand within it. So we're going to go ahead and tackle this, this topic now. You heard it first on Pimp Red TV. We making history up in here. All right, so Pimp Red, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Well, how y'all doing out there? My name is Pimp Red. I am, I got my name as far as like Pimp Red ever since I was real young, and then I switched my name back over to something regular because then I wasn't no pimp. But I grew up in the game, and you know what I mean, and that's how I got my name back as far as like Pimp Red because you got to live up to the name of Pimp Red.
Okay, all right. So what I want to know more about is explain your upbringing and in general though, if you like, but at least tie it into eventually why you use this word and what it means to you and your knowledge of the word and how you feel about other people using it, the whole nine, just what you feel about this topic.
Well, as far as like to stop the word, before I used to say the N word a lot, you know what I mean? Sometimes I have to catch myself with, with even just saying it, but a lot of the times when I do say it, it's just only around people that, it's around people that I know because I know there is a lot of people out there in the world that really takes that word offensively, which is I can understand. Now, the part of that, of me understanding that, is the elderly people that's been through the struggles and that's been through this type of situation as far as with slavery. But nowadays, there's youngsters out there that's around like my age that hasn't even been through slavery, that hasn't even dealt with that type of situation.
So they shouldn't be offended if someone calls them that?
It depends on how they call it that, and it depends on how the person is, as that person calling them that. Now, if that person,
so it does depend. So you don't necessarily have to have gone through that struggle to to be offended, right?
Right. And now, let's say, for example, me personally, I grew up in the hood. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That was why I asked you to talk about your upbringing, and because that does matter. It does matter to some people. Some people it doesn't. But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna lay out this.
Right.
We're gonna get thorough in this today. This is Pimp Red TV.
Okay. Yeah, my bad about the miscommunication. But I grew up in Stockton. You know what I mean? If you don't know where Stockton is, then Google it, look it up, look at the videos, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It was every day that I had to deal with. You know what I mean? In the middle of the night, ducking down, getting on the ground because there was gunshots, never knowing when a bullet was gonna fly through the wall. I'm talking about growing up, not having really much money, you know what I mean, and helping moms out trying to pay the bill as much as I can after, my stepdad left and everything. So, you know what I mean, and I grew up in the hood to where I always had to protect myself. I felt like everybody was against me because I was the only redhead white boy out there with, with red hair. And I was also big for my age too at the time. So, Being
How
around
tall?
that,
How?
being
Kind of explain. You being big because that's a big deal too. Like a lot of how old were you when you first had a full facial beard?
I was like 10, 11 years old when I really had a full facial
Okay,
beard.
really, I used to tell people you were 9.
But no, that was when I started smoking when I was 9.
Oh, okay, so 10 years old. That's still very young to have a full
Right.
beard.
And I used to get expelled from school just because, you know what I mean, I didn't shave or whatever because I looked a lot older
So
than
they require you to
what.
shave at
Yes.
10, 11 years old,
Yes.
and they expelled you for that.
Yes.
Wow.
Gave me like half day in elementary.
Wow, that's
Like,
crazy.
you know what I mean? But as far as like with the N word, you know what I mean? Like you grow up around that type of environment. You know what I mean? If you grow up in the hood, then you know what I mean. You're gonna grow up around that type of environment, though. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that I'm black or nothing like that. Like you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Like you know what I mean? Like I never really wish to be black, but you know what I mean? It's just the way I was raised. So people sit up there and try to say that I am black or oh yeah, he's trying to act black, or you know what I mean, and all that stuff. No,
Well,
that's not the case. The case is that you know what I mean. I grew up in Stockton. I grew up in the hood. So the way I wear
can
my
I ask you
clothes.
this? Because this is what I always wanted to ask someone when I noticed there's a certain way that they act, and people attribute it to the way they were brought up. Like I'm sure when people see me and see I must act a certain way too, and they probably say, well, he must have been brought up that way. However, I can tell you for myself. Okay, so we back recording. Okay, we were slightly interrupted. This is a BlackBerry phone that we are using, and his phone rang and it discontinued the filming. Okay, so now we're back on. All right. Uh, I was basically asking him about his upbringing, and I had a question that I always wanted to ask somebody who, was labeled under that umbrella of someone who's only acting a certain way because that's a particular way you have to be brought up in. Um, I myself saw certain things that were typical of, the people around me. However, I would also seek out to see the things that were different from that, and then I would evaluate that based on, what I thought about both sides. However, I guess if you're more whatever you're introduced first or you're around more, it does have to, you know, it it has to, kind of wear on you to where it does come apart of you. But what I want to ask you, after saying that, is you stated earlier, if we didn't pick that up in the recording, that you were around people who said the N word, and it was kind of how you were brought up. You were around those people. Okay, that makes sense. So it was heard, it was said, and maybe allowed. However, do you not know about the situations and or do you not know why most people probably don't say it? Did you not know about like the other part of it? Like even though you understood that you were around it, did you understand why people who weren't around it as much don't use it?
Like yeah, I do now. I understand, but as far as me growing up, I didn't understand how powerful that word was back then,
So
and
you
that's
didn't
why.
know that certain people didn't say that word because it was how it was considered. You didn't know that.
Right.
You thought it was just
Back
a
then,
regular.
when I was growing up.
You thought it was just a regular word that people use like
Yes.
as a term of endearment or whatever,
Yeah.
just another word.
Like, hey, what's up, dog? Like, you know what I mean?
You didn't even know it used to be bad at all.
Like, you know what I mean? Like when I first started saying it, you know what I mean? I wasn't really like into movies like too much like that. Like as far as you know what I mean? As far as like with history, you know what I mean? So don't get me wrong, I used to watch movies though, but not like history movies and stuff. So you know what I mean? Like, so when I was like, you know what I mean? So like when I was growing up and everything, like, I was just always like mainly out in the streets. I never really cared about like, you know what I mean, school because I was always suspended. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really learning, what I needed to be learning. So,
So you didn't learn about that in no school or nothing like that. But you were in
until
the
I got older.
you were in the streets, right?
Right.
You did grow up. Um, around being around both black and white people. So I know you have to know that some of them don't like each other just because of that. You didn't know that, right? You
Some
didn't.
of what?
You didn't know that. Did you know that some black people don't like white people and some white people don't like
Oh yeah,
black people or whatever just because of their color?
yeah.
So you do know that.
That's one of the reasons why I used
And
to.
you didn't know that that word was a word used by people who usually feel that way.
Mm,
You
I
didn't
didn't
know
know.
that at the time. You really didn't know that.
It was like certain people, you know what I mean. It would be like one person that I didn't really know, like you know what I mean, out of once in a great while, and would like really sit there and like you know what I mean, and really trip about it because I said the N word to him. You know what I mean?
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like when you were using the word or when you first heard it, you didn't understand that it at least used to definitely be a word that was meant to
No,
be
not at
offensive.
first. Not
You
at
didn't
first.
know that.
Yeah, not
You
at
didn't
first.
like I know that well because a lot of people know that they just say now it doesn't mean that anymore. So that's why they'll use it too. So I was just so you didn't know at all that it even used to be
No,
considered.
I just thought, you know what I mean. Like then I didn't even know what the word meant until I looked it up in the dictionary. Until you know, actually, my stepdad told me as I got older, told me to look up the word in the dictionary, and you'll find out the real meaning of it. But you know, back in the days, for white people used to use it as a real powerful way of, you know what I mean, as far as like with slavery and everything and stuff like that. But now that I learned the concept of that, you know what I mean, I stopped saying it. But you know what I mean. That's with the er at the end, and then you got the a with just the a. You know what I mean. That's more like saying what's up, or you know what I mean. Oh yeah, you know what I mean. Like you my brother, or you know what I mean. You my cousin, or you know what I mean. You a family member, or we
So
grew
when
up
a
to each
person
other.
says nigga please, that means you saying what's up.
Like not, I mean that's just basically saying, man, you better stop it, please.
Yeah,
Basically,
I just said that to have you clarify too that that word is also known, put the word
like
is
stop
also
playing.
used as a masculine word, meaning used for guys. Like it's another word for dude, partner,
Yeah,
whatever. You know what I'm saying,
it,
right?
it's a whole
But I'm
bunch of
gonna
different
inform
meanings,
you.
just like a down.
I'm gonna inform you whether it's er or ga. Both words were created around the same time.
No,
No, they were. They were created around the same time. The origin of the word, the Nigger, comes from France, and was adopted by the British during the transatlantic slave trade when they came over to the American colonies. And because due to some of those people not being proper English speakers, they didn't, or French or whatever, they didn't speak the
okay.
same language.
See, I
They didn't
didn't
speak the
even know
same
that.
language, so some people said it differently. So most definitely that word was used way back, at least in a time when a lot of this stuff was happening. It's not like it was a word that was. It's not like when they start using it as a term of endearment, they changed it to a GA. That is not true. That is not true. That's just the one that got chosen amongst black people for some reason over that one when they chose to use it as a term of
Just to
endearment.
say it to each other.
Yeah, they just so happened to use. Matter of fact, they kind of were more of the ones who pronounced it that way when it was said because they didn't speak that language.
Hmm.
But also white people also refer to them as niggas too. Okay, back in that time. So no, so if that's one of your reasonings too, then because it ain't for me. Me per
Me,
me, I'm gonna say this. Me personally, I believe that words are symbols meant to communicate with people. If you have something that you truly need to communicate with a person, then that's up to you. But know what you mean and mean what you say, meaning that you should understand what you are transmitting to another person and understand how they're going to receive it. Because if you don't, you suffer consequences. So know that for a fact that what you say can have big consequences, and don't. And that's all I think a person really needs to know. You have the right to use whatever words you want. That is up to you, but know that there could be consequences for it. That's how I feel personally. Personally.
and I, you
Well, I was going to say, however, a lot of people have weird reasons why they say it, and then when they find out that that's not a true, it's not true, the history behind it or whatever, then where does that take you then? Because for me, I know all this stuff, and I still don't care if people use the words because I explained why.
well, you know what I mean with you. it's different because you know what I mean. You can say the word like freely, and you know what I mean, and there would be no consequences for you
At all.
at all. You know what I mean? But for me, there would be consequences. You know what I mean? Like I know, you know what I mean? I know I can sit up here and have a conversation with you and say the word, and then you won't even trip because you know, for the simple fact is that you know what I mean. I'm not racist. I grew up with you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We're brothers. You know what I mean? We're cousins and stuff. So
Well, can I tell you something? I don't know if you didn't know, and I don't know if it's like this for every black person, and you know, or if it's just where I was from, or just my family and the people I so happen to know. But I can tell you a lot. Most people, when they hear it, it ain't even about them thinking the person is racist. It's about one of those things where, like, this is something we can say, and motherfucker, y'all can't.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's just how a lot of them feel. You know, like y'all, we don't get. That's pretty much. There ain't nothing we can do about the past and take nothing, you know, and change anything that happened before. But you know what? They at least out of it, motherfucker, y'all not saying that word. I dare you to say it around me. And that's how. I mean, I'm just saying that's how a lot of people feel. You and that ain't how I feel, but I'm gonna let you know a lot of people do feel that way. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn.
hmm
If you are not black, they don't want to hear from you. That's just something, and that's just some people. Now, you said there's no consequences for me. Yes, there is. Mine is at the end of the day, what people fail to realize is the word is used in a different way nowadays, obviously, but it isn't. It's still at the end of the day considered a negative word. It's still considered a negative word,
yeah,
even though you
yeah.
may not.
Of
So
course.
since it's still considered a negative word, even though I'm black, there's a lot of older black people who don't like hearing the word at all. So I do have. I won't just go anywhere just saying that word because one, I know they feel disrespected about it. Even if I don't think it's disrespectful, I know they take it that way.
Right.
And because of that, out of respect, I try not to do that around them.
Same thing with me.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
And be,
Exactly.
and at the end of the day, people still look at it like a curse word, so I gotta respect that because I really don't have no issue with any word. It's just how you use them, all of them,
Yeah.
all of them.
Exactly.
I don't think we should have. The fact that we labeled 7 certain words and called them unforbidden words is what make them so bad anyway.
Like me personally, I don't, you know what I mean. I don't like the word, but you know what I mean. As far as like bitch and people, you know what I mean, can sit up there and you know what I mean, call each other bitches like all day long in a regular conversation. But now if you say bitch while you mad, you know what I mean. Like if you're mad and you call somebody a bitch, then you know what I mean. Then that's a different way of using the word bitch. You know what I mean. It's like go to jail and call somebody a bitch and see what happens.
But you you
You
you
know what
want
I
to know
mean?
what I know though? Like those words were all they did was like they were meant they got turned. I don't know if they were initially meant to be that powerful, but people made them that powerful by giving them that forbiddenness to say and all that.
I do.
Because if it wasn't a big deal, if it because there's someone one the whole point should be a person shouldn't disrespect you, but we gave those words so much power that if they're even said, those particular words, soon as they're said, people already classify them that way, and that's too bad. That's too bad because it just complicates things and make more issues out of it. You know what I'm saying? If it were one of those things where it don't really matter what word the person's saying, it just matters what that person means in general, then you would have a lot of less problems with shit like that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But now there's things you just can't say. Like one, you don't want to be called no punk. You can't be thought of being called a punk or any of that or a bitch because it's so associated with you being a coward. All of that. You damn sure don't want to be called no motherfucking snitch or any of these things because they have so
So much
bad,
power behind
so
them.
much power behind them that they, being labeled any of those things could have you, viewed in a way that you just don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just all super negative light, and the N word has the same thing.
So like, you know what I mean, and that's and you know like as far as like you know like the N word and the snitch, they're both very powerful words. You know what I mean, and you know I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be a lot of people. You know what I mean when they get mad or whatever, they say, oh yeah, fucking snitch or whatever. You like, you know what I mean. Or just even when you know what I mean, when two individuals get mad at each other and they're from the hood, you know what I mean. They, you know what I mean. They say the N word and square off with each other. You know what I mean? They, oh, N-word, what's that? You know what I mean? See me about something. You feel me?
I
Like,
just want to know this. I want to know your definition of nigga and what you mean and how you use it. And no. And then I want to know. Let me try to explain this because I want to know, like, because I know you have what you mean and how you use it, but I also want to know what you know about how it was used before and how it was meant to be used. Like, what do you know about that? Both.
how, you know what I mean? How, I'm going to start off with how it was used before. How it was used before is that, you know what I mean, there was slavery going on, and, you know what I mean, and there's a lot of racist people out there, you know, they got, you know what I mean, the Adolf Hitler. You know, he was one of the people that used to say it too because he didn't like
He
nobody
did?
but his kind.
Adolf Hitler
If you
did?
watch the Jewish, like, you know what I mean.
I didn't, because he was dealing with Jewish people. So what did he was saying?
If he seen like a black person, he, you know what I mean, he would say it, and that's why a lot of racist people they have the swastika signs on them because you know they run with the, you know what I mean, with the whatchamacallit, with Adolf Hitler or whatever.
Well, my class, they said that you know, during that time there wasn't really anything called racism because we didn't really have a concept of race yet, but they call it proto-racism. Like they were still treating people different because of their color of their skin, where they were from, and all of that. But we just didn't define. We just didn't have a definition of what
Adolf,
race.
Adolf Hitler was racist of everybody that did not have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Right, I understand that.
So you know
Okay.
what I mean. So I mean, if you come, you know what I mean, just because he's in a whole different country and a black man comes around in that era, you know what I mean, or in that area, you know what I mean, you're gonna be killed. You know what I mean. I would be killed. You know what I mean.
So what
And you
does
would
that
still
have
be
to do
called, and you
with?
would still have to be called, you know what I mean, or they still would call you the
But I'm
N
saying,
word.
what do they mean by that though? What is it when they call you that? What do they mean? What are they saying about you?
They're saying that you're ignorant. They're saying that you're stupid. They're saying that, you know what I mean, you don't know how to read or write. They're saying that, you know what I mean, you have no, basically you have no right to stay here. That's what they're, you know what I mean, that's what they're saying. You know, but as far as now, as far as us, you know what I mean, using the N word, like, you know what I mean, with the GA, you know what I mean, then that's just us saying, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, all right, bro. I'll see you later. You know what I
So
mean?
you can't use it with the GA to mean the other stuff. Then?
If you say it with the ER,
No, what I'm saying, if Adolf Hitler said it with a GA, he can't. It ain't meaning the same thing. Like if he said the same thing,
it
nigger, get off
depends
my.
on
Well,
how he said it.
if you say nigger, get off my porch, I hate you, or I hate you niggers, get off my porch. Is that any different than I hate you niggas, get off my porch?
The ER is way more intense. That's what I say. You know what I mean? Now, if Hitler, I
Why?
don't. The reason why it is more intense
Right.
is because you know what I mean. That's what you know what I mean. That's how they started it off, as far as like back in the slavery
Well,
days.
I told you that they were pretty much
Yeah.
simultaneously made, so that's
So
not
you know what
true.
I mean, and then the brothers, you know what I mean, and the French, like you said earlier, like you know what I mean, France didn't France or you know the French or whatever, they didn't really know how to say it right.
Well, they
So
did. It was English and Spanish people, other people.
you know, like Spanish, they say Negro or something like you know.
Yeah, it's just
They even have it on a black crayon, like you know what I mean.
Well, Negro was negro was meant to describe something that was black. Like that's black. That means black. And there, it didn't mean what nigga in the definition they have a lot of purposes for the word nigga. It was meant to mean basically someone who was under the umbrella of a whole bunch of things such as lazy, um, like you said, ignorant, childlike, uh,
No
meant to
hope.
be a slave. Basically, you were. It meant
You were
like
useless.
you were one of those. You were what a nigga was. What black people were to them. How they felt about them. That's what a nigga was. Like all the things that we had
And
to
it's
do.
funny, and
So like that is what the word used to mean. Like you know what I mean? Like that's that. And I mean I'm saying well it still means that too, but it doesn't mean you have to say it in that way.
right,
So that's what the word the origin of the word and that's one of the meanings of the word there.
you,
So like you gotta know, like, you gotta know that whenever you say that word, there is still gonna be people who recognize it with all that stuff with it too. You know what I'm saying? It is people who recognize that with it. Um, but yeah, so there ain't even the GA and the ER. They're still tamales. Okay, we're gonna smack those. All right, go ahead, Pimp.
Nah, and you're absolutely right about that because, and it's funny that you actually say that because when I was locked up, like, you know what I mean, me personally, I was running with the brothers because, I knew people from the hood, you know what I mean, and that's all I know. If I go to the whites, it's all bad. Long story
So
short, but
you was up in Reno with the black people?
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
And they was fucking with you?
yeah. I was right up underneath the underdog.
Oh, okay, so they wasn't tripping at all that when you was white.
Nah,
What did the whites feel?
the whites, they, you know what I mean, they used to always look at me or whatever, and they used to like look at me. They'd be like, "Why you rolling with them?" Or, you know what I mean, "Why you know what I mean, why are you with them? You should be with your kind." Stuff like that. And I just told them straight up. I said, "Look, I'm from Stockton. I'm from the hood. You know what I mean? This is how I was raised. This is what I know. This is, you know what I mean? This is."
So it's more about affiliated with the people, but you that but you wasn't in. There was people that you knew from you actually knew some of those people already.
Right.
Oh, okay, so that's what it was about.
So, you know what I mean? It was already, I knew some of those people. And
But so in general, let's say you go to jail, prison, somewhere else. Hopefully this doesn't happen, because we don't want you in there. But let's say you go to some place where you ain't around somebody you know. Then are you gonna confirm to politics and go and you know what I mean and go with the whites, or what are you gonna do then? Because I mean
I would
it's
have to, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I would have to be, you know what I mean? I would have to be strapped up. You know what I mean? I would have to fucking make my own knives and shit like that, my own little weapons and everything, and just ride solo bolo. You know what I mean? Like, but unless somebody gives me the respect of, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, we see your type of style. We see the way you talk. We see the way you act. We see the way you know what I mean? You walk. We see the way you wear your
so
clothes.
basically
So,
fucking with the whites is not you're
no,
not gonna do it no matter what.
no.
You're not fucking with
If
them.
I do, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that I can.
Or how about this? How about you just gonna fuck with everybody on their own? You're not gonna you you now. What about fucking with the blacks? I mean, why would you rather fuck with them?
Because that's, you know what I mean? I'm more comfortable with them. You know what I mean? I won't get really, like, already proved myself to, you know what I mean, to every, like, you know what I mean, to every black person, you know what I mean? Not every, but,
Well, I was gonna
you know what
say
I mean?
there's
As far as like my style, they could tell, you know what I mean, the way I was brought up and the way I grew up, you know what I mean? And I walk into a
no,
store,
but I'm saying some people may
a
not
black
care about.
person can tell that I actually
No,
really grew
I
up in the
haven't
hood,
seen. I haven't
and it's
seen.
not no acting,
Right,
it's not no show.
I haven't seen this much ever, but I'm sure there's some people out there. And I'm sure, and mainly I'm just talking about like organizations like that where it mainly is only, it'd probably be easier to find someone who think like that because they're so used to it being the way that they're used to having it. So I'm talking about what about the people that are going to just not want to fuck with you at all just because you're white? Forget how you grew up, forget everything. We don't like your color.
Well, you know what I mean? If you don't like my color, that's your personal problem.
No, but what I mean, so I'm saying, well, you never encountered that problem?
Yeah, I have.
So, like, let's say if you go to jail and the blacks, they feel like that, and then, that's how they feel, you know what I mean? And the whites want to fuck with you because you're white.
No, I still wouldn't fuck with them.
Okay, so you won't fuck with them just because of what they believe.
Yeah, because I'm not a racist person, and that's, you know what I mean, and that's what they are, like, in jail. As far as like with politics, they're very racist, and you know what I mean. And
But what is it? Okay, let's say you got with the whites and you fuck.
because I wouldn't be able to come out of, you know what I mean. I wouldn't be able to come out of prison, and you know what I mean. And after me pimping bitches and me rapping and being on a few albums and, you know what I mean, doing a photo shoot with all my cousins, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So like, like, but basically, like, you kind of killed me off though. But No, because he was like doing a whole bunch of hand movement and stuff. So I just wanted to let the camera know that. But I can't go into the pen and then come out being hella racist because of the things that I have done in the past, as far as the way I've grew up, the people I grew up around. You know what I mean? I feel, you know what I mean? I have more black family than I do white family. Like, honestly, to tell you the truth, you know what I mean? My stepdad was black, and he's been knowing me ever since I was 2 years old. We got, you know what I mean, his sisters, his mom, you know what I mean, his nephews and nieces, they're all my cousins, and they're all, you know what I mean, they're all family. You know what I mean? Like ever since I was little, they've been there for me. You know what I mean? And I've been there for them. You know, so I mean, I'm just family. I'm just the only. It's like having a whole bunch of roaches, and you just see that one white roach out of nowhere. It's like, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter that roach is white, because you feel me, he's with all the rest of them, basically, you know what I mean? But now you feel me, this roach goes up to a beetle, you know what I mean? And the beetle is like, if this little roach goes off to another little colony or whatever, you know what I mean? And then the roach is like, those roaches is like, oh yeah, we not fucking with you because you white. But now the beetle's wrong. You know what I mean? Or there's other
Oh, so
type of
how you
roach.
feel?
Like,
Blacks is roaches and whites is motherfucking beetles.
no, I'm not. I'm just saying an example.
Well, 'cause you
It's
white, you
funny
call
though.
yourself a white roach, and then but you call them beetles and shit. So
But that was just like a scenario though.
I know I'm just gonna fucking with you. It is funny. Uh,
But I ain't gonna lie, I used to have a roach. His name was Leonard. No, I'm just playing. But
all right. Well, we got all that. So we're gonna tune in. Thank you for tuning in to our first episode. That was just a little discussion. You know what I mean? That was a little discussion. I'm hosting Pimp Red TV. He did create Pimp Red TV, but I came and took it over for a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of our discussion. You tune in and hear the other one. It's some good discussion. We trying to get to the bottom of this, and just get not just the surface. We're getting real intellectual right now. So stay tuned.
Pimp Red TV, Hog Status 1.